Love this guy. I miss broadcasting with him, and I'm not just saying that because he's on hold getting set to join us. He is the general manager of the Las Vegas Raiders, Mike Mayock. How have you been, Mike?
Hey, Rich, I'm pretty good. How'd the show go last night? It kind of always amazed me that you could do a show wrapped around a schedule release.
Celebrating paperwork, Mike. That's essentially what we're doing, you know? That's a 3-hour show celebrating the arrival of paperwork is literally what last night was. But you know, we've been making chicken salad since the very beginning, and you were part of all those years, you know?
Somebody sent me a picture of the first combine we did years ago, and it was just it kind of took you back to the old stadium in Indy, and, you know, just bare bones everything. I forget how many people were at the first Senior Bowl or the first combine, Rich, but there weren't many of us, right?
Well, I think it was you and Paul Burmeister, one of the great humans on the planet, in like folding chairs on the sidelines of the RCA Dome. I wasn't even there the first time we started turning the cameras on because, you know, the competition committee was like, you want to televise what? Like, are you kidding me? Like, that was kind of a non-starter. And the way you handled your business and Paul handled his business, and I think we had Jim Moore Sr. on there too, kind of helped tell Bill Polian that, you know, we're not going to be in your face. We're just going to respectfully cover this whole thing, for sure.
You know, what was funny was that we were in the folding chairs right down by the players while they were working out. The first day was the offensive line, and literally it was almost like being in a hockey rink where the players saw you on the other side of the glass, and they could hear us. And the offensive line was working out, and I made a comment about one of the players, and I said, you know, I think he'll probably be a third or fourth round guy. He's not real quick. And you could hear him cursing me out like you can't believe, clearly on the air. He heard everything I said and was MFing me like crazy. Burmeister, of course, couldn't stop laughing.
I bet. You know, it's funny, Mike, with the pandemic, I'm reading articles about how athletes are hearing announcers, what they're saying to them because there's no fans in the stands. And how that's been. So you had that sensation, you know, when it was at the combine, you know, and you know, while we're on the subject of fans in the stands, boy oh boy, the first time that fans are going to be in the stands for Las Vegas Raiders game in that beautiful stadium can't be any bigger. A Monday night game against the Ravens. Is that what leapt out to you when you first got the schedule yesterday? Walk me through your process of grabbing a schedule as the GM of the Las Vegas Raiders, Mike Mayock.
Yeah, I mean, I think the first game's an important one, obviously, and out of all the franchises in the league, the Ravens are one of the 3, 4, 5 franchises that I respect the most. I think there's been a degree of excellence set for years, and it didn't matter whether it was Brian Billick or John Harbaugh. Ozzie Newsome was kind of the glue behind it. Now Eric DeCosta. They've got an amazing quarterback, and they're one of the most physical teams in football. So, you know, Monday night, last year, Rich, we went 6-2 on the road and 2-6 at home. And we need to get that place just rocking and rolling with Raider fans, and we need to set new decibel records, and we need to kind of set a tone for the new Allegiant Stadium.
And then the Ravens at Pittsburgh, and that's another thing I might imagine you look at are those one Eastern road trips, right? You got one for the Giants as well in November. I'm looking here. You got I got a noon kick at Kansas City, at Indianapolis, one Eastern. That is, obviously got to play them when you play them, but that's not terribly optimum for you on the road.
No, and week 2 is tough because the league was good enough to send us to Pittsburgh on a short week across the country.
Yeah, I'm picking that Philly conversation up from you right there. I'm picking that up. So
yeah. So we got a challenging start, and that's what you asked me. What hit me first?
Sure.
And, we're going to embrace it. I mean, that's 2 of the better franchises in the NFL, back to back, one on a short week. That's fine. Let's go.
Mike Mayock.
And that's the way we have to look at it.
Mike Mayock here on the Rich Eisen Show. Walk me into a moment of when you're on the clock, you and Gruden, and what you guys do together, how you work together. That is a fascinating subject for a lot of observers. I'm sure you're you might shrug your shoulders as to the question as to why. But, as you know, you're the head coach that you are evaluating with is a fascinating figure in this league. Walk me through, what is that like when you're on the clock and the Raiders and you and Gruden are in the draft room together, Mike?
Well, most of the work ought to be done before the draft starts, and you ought to have a plan, and obviously the plan changes at different times. And for us, what was kind of cool, we knew we were going to go get Leatherwood in the first, and whether or not we traded down was going to be up in the air. I was hoping to trade down, and it didn't work out. However, the next day, you go home that night, and we're sitting at 48, and we're thinking about there's three pretty good safeties out there, and the number one on our list was Trayvon Mayock, and I thought he was going to be one of the first 2 or 3 picks on the second day because we thought he was going to be going on the first day. And he starts sliding a little bit, and John and I are kind of looking at the board and going, okay, Dallas is at 44. He probably won't get past Dallas. So I picked the phone up and started calling and had a conversation with San Francisco earlier that day, who was at 43, before the draft started. And we talked a little bit about a flip right there. They wanted to potentially move down. We might want to come up. So that was kind of discussed in advance. I got Adam Peters on the phone, who's an outstanding scout and John Lynch's assistant. And Adam and I kind of worked it back and forth. And sure enough, Mayock made it to 43, and John and I couldn't have been happier. So we traded up in 2, and we traded back up in 4 because another safety who we had a big grade on slid down to the bottom of 4, and that's Tyree Gillespie from Mizzou. So I think the fun part, Rich, was you kind of know what you want to do and how you're trying to attack it, but when things come up that you don't expect, how do you react?
Well,
John was awesome. I was just like, John, we got to go get this guy, and he was all in. And the same thing in the 4th round, he was all in. So to me, that's the most fun part of the draft is when you get thrown kind of a curveball and how do you react to it.
Mike Mayock, general manager of the Las Vegas Raiders, here on the Rich Eisen Show. So going into the non-playing season, as we call it on NFL Network, and then the talent evaluation portion and free agency. Have you attacked the defense in the manner that you wanted? Where do you feel about your defense, which you came on the draft show with me and the guys, and I'm sure you have mentioned this many times that was something you needed to attack from the coaching staff all the way through to what you could control. So what do you think now that we're in mid-May?
Well, I mean, time will tell, but we knew we needed some edge speed. We needed some twitch on the outside. Ngakoue became a really important piece to that. And then in the draft, we feel like Malcolm Kuntz is a guy that could develop in a similar fashion. So we've got what we hope is some twitch coming off the edge to kind of provide a balance between Max Crosby and Cleve Farrell on the other side. We also think Cleve did a real nice job kicking inside last year prior to getting hurt. And then we had to attack the inside position, and, we signed Solomon Thomas, Quentin Jefferson, Darius Philon. We're hoping, Rich, that our defensive line is a lot more disruptive than it was a year ago. And that's point number one. We've got to be way better up front. We think we can run at the second level now with the linebacker position, both what we did last year and what we did this year. And to be honest, we got to play better on the back end. And, we've invested draft capital back there. We've invested more now with the second-round safety. So, we're hoping that John Abram and Trayvon Mayock become the type of pair that Gus Bradley envisions with a high safety, a high post safety and a strong safety. And then our outside guys got to play better. And they know that. Damon Arnett, Trayvon Mullen. We signed a veteran, Casey Hayward, that'll be a true pro. So that's kind of a long way of saying, Rich, that you don't have any clue what's going to happen until the season gets here. But we were a pretty good offensive team last year and a really bad defensive team, and that's got to change.
Well, and in terms of the offense, you came on again, always kind of come back home, if you will, to us on NFL Network. You and I spoke with DJ Daniel Jeremiah in the booth at the last in-person combine, and I'm sure you remember it because that was when Tom Brady was about to hit the free agent market, and I attempted to make you take the cheese on that conversation, and you saw that coming a mile away and did not. And that chuckle means that you do remember that. And so your current quarterback is still your current quarterback, and everybody thought that when Gruden was coming, he might not like your current quarterback, and he's still your current quarterback. So what does the offense look like with Derek Carr this year and moving forward? What is Carr's role in everything according to your viewpoint, Mike?
I think John and I are both excited and energized by Derek Carr and what he's done the last couple of years with John. I thought he's made a step forward each year. I thought he was one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL last year. And if he takes another step forward, he'll be a very, very special quarterback. Derek can play. And last year, Derek was not one of our problems. And what we did this year, Rich, which kind of has the whole building energized right now, is we're revamping our offensive line.
Yeah.
So, I think it's more about how quickly that unit develops. We feel like we've got some real talent at the skill positions. We feel like we've got one of the top quarterbacks in football, and our offensive line is in there working their tails off every day, and we feel like we got younger and more athletic, but we certainly gave up a savvy veteran presence in both our center, Rodney Hudson, and our right guard, Gabe Jackson.
So why did you do that?
That's where we've got to develop.
Why did you do that, Mike? That's a lot of people are wondering, why did you do that? I mean, you had veteran savvy. I mean, you just used two adjectives you'd normally want to ascribe to your line. Why did you do that with the line?
I have all the respect in the world for those two guys. Both of them were getting into their 30s now. They both made plus or minus $10 million a year. Trent Brown was in the $14 million area. So between the three of them, there was about $34 million of salary we offloaded. And while we did that, we think we got younger and more athletic. And that's with all due respect to Rodney and Gabe. But we draft a first-round right tackle. We think John Simpson, our left guard from last year, who we took in the fourth round, has a chance to be really good. We still have Denzel Good. We still have Richie Incognito. We re-signed our left tackle, Colt Miller, to a big contract, and we think Andre James has a chance to be a really good center. So, there comes a time. We got Andre as an undrafted free agent 3 years ago, and we think he's going to be very good. And so he's less expensive, he's younger, he's more athletic, and we're excited about the changes to our offensive line.
Mike, I appreciate the chat, and as a thank you, I'm going to do what I always love to do with guests, and certainly since you are special in the regard that I've known you for a long time, I'm going to do my best to leave you in a better place. And in that regard, Mike, is you mentioned earlier that having fans in the stands in Vegas is going to be great, and you can't wait, and they have to be loud, and they have to be rocking. We have all seen the news this week about the club, the Vegas-type club that's going to be there in the end zone with what I assume is Mike Mayock generally managed bottle service. And put it all together, Mike. We have the DJ for you. We just need your help to get Mike Del Tufo the gig. Your thoughts?
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Hold on. No, hold on a second. You do not know.
It took you about 7 minutes to get there, and I don't even know what you're talking about.
That was my wind-up. I took a long wind-up, admittedly, and I appreciate your evaluation of that because you always evaluate. I understand. But you don't know about this nightclub that's in the end zone that was announced this week that's coming? It's a new club. Wynn Resorts is conceiving it. TVs, premium DJs, bottle service on the field level suites. No? You don't know that?
When it comes to the end zone, Rich, I only care about which jerseys get there.
Well done. Look at Mayock with the response.
I could care less about the rest of it.
Well, no, hold on a second. No, but this could get folks riled up, And if Del Tufo,
people
Mike,
not paying attention, people drinking drinks and not paying attention to the game, that's what get fired up.
well, maybe you need them to get, be full. Maybe you get a false start by your opponent out of this thing. You know what I'm saying? I mean, so Del Tufo could spin the records.
I'm all in, Rich, for whatever we need to do to get that place loud.
Well,
that's all I have.
Del
I don't even
Tufo
know
can
what you're
do
talking about, but let's get loud.
Mike Del Tufo can spin the records. Mike. So, I'm just trying to help you out here. Get him in touch with the right
Rich,
person.
I've never been more appreciative of your help.
Thank you, Mike.
Del Tufo, I'm trying here, but there's only so much I can do. It's just every so often, every now and then, I always feel like I'm taking on water with Mayock. It's been a while since I felt that way, but now here I am again. Mike, you take care. Best to your family. Best to Lee. We all miss seeing her around. Certainly NFL Network. So you take care. You be well.
Thanks, Rich. Best to you guys and your family.
Yeah, right. That's Mike Mayock, everybody. The best answer we could have gotten from Mike Mayock. I don't know what you're talking about.
That was amazing.
Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.